Sadnam. We are Jen and Ramtin from Heart Center Revolution.
Our intention with this podcast is to share the best of Kundalini Yoga and conscious living with you so you can live a more heart-centered life. Welcome to episode 17 of the Heart Centered Revolution podcast. In this episode, we talk about how Kundalini Yoga helps us to tap into our healing abilities. And at the end, I'll lead you through a pranayama called Build Your Own Excellence. It's kind of an intimidating title, but we will give it a shot. We will join Ramtin's class now.
Today, the Kriya we're going to do is Kriya for disease resistance. So, how do we resist something? We strengthen something else. And how does that help us resist something?
At this point in a class, a student answers Ramtin's question by saying that if your nervous system is better able to handle stress, then you won't be having diseases or get sick as often.
Yeah, it's simple. This stuff is simple, right? It's simple because the complexity of our system, the complexity of our biology, physiology, the complexity of the brain is part of really biology, but is kind of the facilitator between our physical existence and our more subtle energy existence, our mind. And the functionality of the brain, communicates between the two. Helps our body communicate through the brain to the mind, to the field energy, and the other way around. So the complexity of this system that works in an automatic way, in an automated way, allows us to consciously enjoy life. And the more we do the things through exercising, the kriyas we do, the meditations we do to clear the pathways, to clear the channels of communication, and enhance, and through that clarity of the communication between our mind and body, between the channels, that clarity through the channels helps us focus on what we want to focus at a time that we need to focus on something. And is said to be, that's clarity. So that's why, is so popular for people to say meditation is to clear your mind. Really, it's not like you're clearing away or deleting things from your mind. Because once you establish a memory, and the memory is consciousness, everything we're doing creates a certain consciousness at different levels. All the stuff we become aware of in the more esoteric level, energy level, physical level, is just consciousness that has established and has developed and formulated in a form, a physical form, in an energetic form, more subtle form, 10 bodies, if you're familiar with 10 bodies in Kundalini Yoga. All those are energy forms. So that's how we clear our mind. So what we want to do when we do disease resistance, right? Exactly, by strengthening our nervous system or glandular system, by just simple moves, focusing on clearing the channels, and it shifts our focus on what we want to do, the more positive things, if you will. And when we do that, there's no room really for negative, for any dis-ease in the body. Dis-ease is not just, like illness. Our illnesses in the body are, the way we, body syndromes, so to speak, that they come up is a way of communication our body has to let us know there's something wrong. You need to change the direction of your thoughts, because it's all working together. It's not separate. And that's what we become aware of. And as we expand our consciousness through the practice of Kundalini Yoga, our consciousness is affecting those who are more involved in the field of medicine, science, to actually do bring in the reality of our consciousness in the more subtle forms of energy, spirit, it is called, into our physicality, and is one thing. So a lot of time, science and in medical field, they end when it comes to something that's beyond measure for them, they put it in a form of question. What if this was this way? What if there was more to it than our cellular body? What if there was the consciousness? And the way they utilize those words is in a form of being ambiguous, but we want to bring it into more tangible aspect of who we are. So strengthening every aspect of who we are through the practices and the focus, all we have to do is do a simple move consciously, like we do in the Kriyas in a certain order, that we are awakening the parts of the body to communicate to each other more effectively, opening the channels. We're using our breath. We're using the consciousness that has been created before us in a form of mantra. And as we listen to the mantras, as we also have our own mantras in our own language. But the language we use ourselves, there's different associations we have, like even the word love, even the word compassion, passion, kindness, truth. There's a certain association subconsciously with that. Well, when we tap into the pure mantras, a Sanskrit word, that when we hear that this word has this meaning behind it, right? We purely kind of tap into that consciousness. So that consciousness for us that has been chanted, and has been chanted for a certain purpose, and is a field of energy, and we tap into when we chant that mantra as well. So through the technology of mantra, our breathing, and systematically working our body through the Kriyas, we are programming our subconscious mind, if you will. I don't like that word programming as much, but it is sort of like that. So it's programming the subconscious mind. And by just simple techniques and simple things we do, we tap into the complexity of our system that we didn't need to know anything about to program it. And as we do that, we allow that system to automatically work for us now. So we don't have to know the ups and downs and inside and outs of anything about our own system. All you have to do is just how to, manipulate it. Or not even that, program it. That's better, more positive, right? Program it. So we do that in a few minutes a day, and then we just allow it, let go, and allow it to work for us. That's what it's meant to be. That's why 90% of our mind power is a subconscious, at a subconscious level. It's a consciousness, but at a subconscious level, because we don't need to know about everything about it. You don't need to know exactly how many times our heart beats every second, or what happens between, the communication goes on between our digestive system and the brain, and how there's millions of things going on. It's amazing. And rightfully, that's why the science has become so amazed by the physical existence of who we are. All we need to do, and then as we do that, we create that strength and positivity through the mantras, through the breathing, through the exercises, strengthening that area that we want to focus on. And trust. And the trust comes with experience as well, and the belief, and goes beyond. That is going to resist now. We don't need to do anything else. That creates a belief system in that area. We get to not to worry about, cold weather, hot weather, viruses, diseases, as opposed to conditioning our mind that yes, cold weather, this season is the flu season. This season is this. This is, all that, and I have to go get vaccinated. I better, buy more, have, my drugs, set up for myself if I have catch a cold or whatever. You don't need to rely on any external stuff. We strengthen that inner power, inner system within. Trust that it's going to work. Not worry about the complexity of it. And consciously live our life, enjoy our life. And they work together. The more we are conscious of what's going on in each moment, that's conscious living. By having our subconscious programmed in a way, the more we are able to, now the more support we get through that system to live consciously. And that's what we want to dwell in continuously, not the problems, not the diseases, not the worries around. And just notice how that shifts everything, not only within you, but in your environment and beyond. And setting the foundation, allowing everything else now to come to your world, the systems of economy, everything else. Okay? So that's what these simple practices do for us. The realizations, the awareness we're talking about, this is it within us. And self-awareness is not easy because it brings up some things that we're not too crazy about, right? We don't like to know about ourselves. But that's the courage, and that's what, again, we're shifting all the energy, and that's why it's good to know every aspect of this technology called Kundalini Yoga, about the chakra systems, our 10 bodies, our breathing, what does that do, our pranayams, our mantras, the meditations that work together. Why do we do it in a classroom, in a setting like this? Why would you go through the whole process and not just do some stretches and just leave? Why do we have the meditation? Why do we tune in? It's the very foundation of any class, any practice we do. Why do we tune in? Why Yogi Bhajan saw someone singing in the back of the class the Long Time Sunshine music song and said, ooh. It wasn't by just accident. It wasn't just something just like he liked the sound of it. It's just something within him, that wisdom turned on and said, this is what's going to complete our practice. It came to him. It resonated through the words, through the songs. That's not the ending of the classroom, but it's not really the ending of our practice.
And that wraps up Ramtin's class. Before we get into the pranayama, I wanted to share a notion. As I was listening to him talking, I was thinking about this concept that we get messages on different realms, or like energetic realms. So at first, like if something's wrong or our attention needs to be called to something, it comes through the spiritual realm. And then if we don't address the issue, or we don't pay attention to it, or sometimes we're just not aware, that's a very hard realm to always stay attuned to because we're so distracted by the physical realm of life that we're in. So first we get messages or information from the spiritual realm, and if we can listen to it or address any issues there, awesome. And then it comes to us through our intuition in thought form. And so that's why listening to our intuition is so important, because we can sidestep a lot of diseases or discomfort if we can follow our intuition or listen to our intuition. So if we don't address something when it comes into our thought form or the intuitive form, then it will create an emotion. So you'll have a negative feeling. And again, that negative feeling or emotion is just trying to call your attention to something. There's a lesson to be learned. There's a shift to be made. There's a boundary to be set, maybe forgiveness to be given. So the emotional realm, like I said, once it comes through spiritual, then thought form, then emotional. And then if we're still not dealing with it, it'll manifest in physical symptoms. So in getting, flu and colds frequently, or even more serious illnesses, can be tied back to emotions that haven't been dealt with, and emotions that haven't been dealt with can be tied back to intuitions and thoughts that haven't been dealt with. And then those come from the spiritual realms. So it's all connected. And that's why the yoga of awareness is so important, this Kundalini yoga practice that we do, because we can get more aware and become better listeners, and we can hear the messages in the spiritual realm, in the intuitive realm, and not have to deal so much with the negative emotions and physical illnesses. They still come, of course, because there's still lessons to be had, but it's fewer and further between, and you see them in a different light. You see them as a way to grow and to learn and to progress yourself. So that was just kind of a thought that I had as I was listening to Rampton. So now we will move into the pranayama practice for today. Today's pranayama is called Build Your Own Power of Excellence. It's called the Pranadhara Kriya, in case you're curious. So the quote says, this is called the Pranadhara Kriya. It is very sacred to people for their health, wealth, and happiness. It affects the pituitary in a very polite but very direct way. It builds up in you your own power of excellence, but don't overdo it. It should be done from 3 to 5 minutes maximum. Speaking of not overdoing it, I also do not recommend you doing this pranayama while you're driving. It can create some head shifts and altered state of consciousness. It's very powerful, even though it seems subtle. So if you're driving, please don't do this. You can just listen to the pranayama and do long, deep breathing, and then give it a shot when you are not operating heavy machinery. So we'll do about 3 minutes of this one today. It's pretty simple, but very, very powerful. And so what we're going to do is pucker your lips. So like you're going to make a kissy face. And then you'll inhale in through your mouth, through your puckered lips. But a full, complete, powerful, but quick breath, like in one count. And then exhale through your nose in one stroke. Inhale through the mouth, through puckered lips. Exhale through the nose. Powerful. So it'll be one stroke of each. So if you've started and gone along with me, go ahead and relax your breath. We'll get into position. I just wanted to explain it to you before we got started. So come into a seated posture if you can. If you're driving or walking, of course, you'll get grounded in any way that you can. But if you're seated, have your sit bones connect with the earth. As you rest into the earth, your heart and shoulders lift, shoulders come up, back and down. Heart is open and proud. The crown of the head is up towards the heavens, but the chin is gently tucked down and back so that you can feel some gentle space in the back of the neck. For now, we're going to close our eyes and focus them at the third eye as we do a couple long, deep breaths. So inhale deeply, filling up the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Exhaling, the shoulders fall, ribs knit together, navel back to spine. One more long deep breath, inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, and belly. Wonderful. So this pranayama is a little bit different in that your eyes are open. So you can keep them open. I would recommend finding something to focus on. It might help it be a little bit more meditative. And so with your eyes open, focused on the eye gaze or drishti, whatever you choose that's in front of you, we'll begin the breathing pattern now. So inhale through the mouth, through puckered lips in one stroke. Exhale through the nose. Inhale lips. Exhale nose. Inhale lips. Exhale nose. Continue at your own pace. It's one stroke in, one stroke out. So they should be powerful, complete inhales and exhales. want to inhale a full breath through the mouth and exhale completely. The breath should be heavy and it will purify you. If your mind starts to get uncomfortable or panic, focus on your eye gaze. Focus on something. If you start to get lightheaded, just slow the breath down. Keep it complete, but slow it down. Continuing with this breath, inhaling through the mouth, through puckered lips, exhaling through the nose, one stroke of each. Beautiful. Keep it up. You have just 15 seconds left to go. Awesome. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. Exhale completely. Inhale again. Suspend the breath just for 5 seconds this time. Exhale completely. Inhale. Hold the breath for 5 seconds. Exhale. Last time. Inhale deeply. Fill entirely up. We're going to hold the breath here for 25 seconds. If you're struggling, just sip in a little bit of air. Beautiful. Exhale completely. Close the eyes. Let the breath slowly return to normal, to your regular breath. Check in with your mental, emotional, and spiritual state. See what the effect of this pranayama was on you today. Wonderful. You can blink your eyes open when you are ready. Okay, that just about wraps up the 17th episode of Heart Centered Revolution podcast. If you haven't already, please head on over to iTunes and rate and review our podcast. It really helps us out with them, and it helps them share the news of Kundalini through our podcast with other would-be listeners. We love you, and we will see you next time. May the longtime sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.